What up, guys? Back and better than ever. I had to take a little leave of absence for a little bit. I had some personal stuff going on in my boxing gym that I had to handle, but we're back and better than ever. And we're going to come at you with some props that are going to hit because we've had a lot of time to think about it. And some fantasy players that are going to hit. We've been doing pretty good. We're definitely 4-0 on 1 p.m. And we have hit on numerous of player props. And also our fantasy players are scoring over 10
Last week was not good for us. Last week was not strong for us at all. We didn't go half on our 6-man, so let's hope this week is better.
We went 2-0 and then went 0-4?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, all that matters is that we went 2-0 for 1 p.m. And the 1 p.m. props for this week are a lot easier.
I went 2-0 for the Thursday night game. So if y'all watch that episode and y'all copy those props, you're welcome.
I tailed his Christian McCaffrey prop and it hit. So I hope y'all did the same thing. Right. He's on my fantasy team. He's going to take me to the promised land. 20 points on a bad week. 22.
All right. So I'm going to give you my props and then I'll let EJ go. So my first prop starting off with the 1 o'clock games. Mark Andrews over 49.5 receiving yards. Was that what he was still at? Okay.
No, he's at 53 now.
Okay, so I had it at 49.5, but when you guys are going to go try to do it, it'll be at 53.5. Still, I think it's safe for me. He's playing a weak Colts defense, and Colts gave up 34 yards to Don Schultz on 4 targets. He has C.J. Stroud throwing him the ball, so that's pretty significant. Mark had 45 yards on 5 targets last week versus a better Cincinnati defense.
Yes.
He's Lamar's golden boy. Let's not get that confused. Colts are also ranked 18 versus the tight ends. So Mark Andrews hopefully has a good game. My 4 o'clock prop. Travis Kelce over a half touchdown. It could be receiving, rushing, or throwing. He's not going to throw it, and he's not going to rush it. So
he
obviously,
play quarterback.
No. He plays the Bears defense, who are ranked 12th versus tight ends. Surprisingly, 12th. I thought they were going to be lower because they just
Edwards,
suck.
former Eagle.
And last week, he had a touchdown with 26 yards. His first game back. He should find his groove versus the struggling Bears defense, who got their butts whooped last week in Tampa. So, now to my Sunday Night Football prop to complete my 3-man. Daniel Carlson. Is it Daniel Carlson?
Carlson, yep.
Yep, Daniel Carlson. Carlson. I can't say it right. I can't say it right. Carlson. I don't care. Shut up. Over 6.5 kicking points. I think this game... You know what? I like Stevie in that shit way better, man.
Oh, man. Wow, you heard that? You heard that, y'all?
No, I'm kidding.
Stevie's going to be back next week.
2 weeks.
I
love you, Stevie.
Let's see how his props hit.
I love you, Stevie. All right. Daniel Carlson, over 6.5 kicking points. I think this game turns to be a shootout or a defensive game. Like I said in my scores prediction episode, I think the Steelers win this 20-17, and Carlson will have at least 7 kicking points if that, comes true. But I think the kicking game comes into play heavily for both Steelers and the Raiders, with both teams struggling on offense this year so far. Smash this prop because I've been hitting on all my kicking props all year so far.
Yes, sir. That's what helped me last week. I had a 6-man. And I would have hit if Nick Chubb didn't get hurt. I had a 6-man.
Prayers up to Nick Chubb, though.
I was ready to go. I hit all 5. I had Chubb over 17.5 carries, and he was getting fed the ball, and it hurt me, man. But I had the Steelers kicker, and it went over. But on to our props for 1 o'clock. We have Justin Jefferson going back to the well. We've done it 3 weeks in a row, and we're going on for a third. We're going with over 100.5 receiving yards. I stole this prop earlier in the week at 94.5.
Who do they play?
They play the Chargers.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I think he gets over 100.5. His first 2 weeks, he's gotten over 150. Okay? And he played Darius Slay, and then he played the Bucks defense, who has been surprising me this year, who is a pretty good defense. The point total for this game is 54.5.
Right? Yeah, both offenses going to be shooting out, bro.
If you guys haven't seen, what I've been targeting in fantasy and props is Chargers games. Yeah. And they've been hitting a good amount of the time. Yeah, Mostert, week 1, fantasy, he got in the end zone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Herbert, week 2.
Yeah.
Coming.
Crazy. So, I love it.
I like it. And with this one, the Vikings defense stinks. And they have a pretty good offense.
Oh, God.
So there's a lot of overs and fantasy players in this game that I like to target. So that's all I really got to say about that. Then, 425. I have Tony Pollard going over half a touchdown. He can rush, receive, or pass it. Probably going to be 2 out of 3 of those options that's going to happen. He didn't score last week. He had 2 the week before. They're 12.5-point favorites against the Cardinals. They're going to be running the ball, okay? It's a game script that equals Tony Pollard getting into the end zone.
There's something I said on my Sunday predictions episode when I was here alone. I was saying, like, bro, this sucks because the Cowboys have the easiest 3-game schedule I've ever seen.
Dude, I was thinking that too. I was like,
and
I'm thinking, Cowboys.
And I'm thinking, like, bro, I'm gonna hear so much. Oh, this week, Cowboys 3-0, baby, Super Bowl. Like,
so the Eagles better get it done on Monday night.
They played the 3 worst defense in the league this year.
It's not even defense.
Well, the Jets. Okay, the
Jets offense. They played the 3 worst offenses.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Giants, Jets, Cardinals.
So
who the hell is week 4?
I really hope the Patriots.
Okay,
we're gonna win that.
I hope y'all
do not. Me and you are getting together for that game.
Yeah, we'll be together for that game.
But
all day.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to say, Cowboys fans, shut up. Go on.
In advance. All right.
Y'all better not lose to the Cardinals, or else I'm on your butt.
Oh, you best.
We are on your.
You are gonna get that phone. Ding, ding, ding. You better go on DND because you ain't gonna hear the end of it. Get it done. 12.5-point spread. All right. 820. George Pickens over 50.5 receiving yards. He took a 71-yard play to the house last week, and Diggs last week against his very same Raiders offense had 66 yards. That's the number 1 receiver.
Respectable.
Okay. Outside receiver, too. Cortland Sutton in week 1 against the Raiders, who was the number 1 outside receiver, I think plays similar to George Pickens. Also 66 yards.
Yeah.
Then the downfield threat, big receiver, Gabe Davis, week 2, 92 yards. Okay? George Pickens got to get 50. He leads the team in targets on the Steelers. This is a weak Raiders defense. George Pickens is the target hog right now. I definitely think George Pickens goes over 50.5 receiving yards. Those are my 3 props for Sunday.
All right, now our fantasy players. I decided to cut down from 2 to 1 to give you guys less to watch, not stress about which players start. I think us giving you 2 each gives you 6 total. Is it? From both of us. I think
12.
12 total. That's more than you start in fantasy. So I realize that. So we're going to give you 1 each. Gives you 6 total. There you go. So now my first fantasy player, Raheem Mostert.
Man, 3 weeks in a row.
I hate saying this name because he killed us last week. But broke out versus our great defense for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns.
28 fantasy points.
Broncos are ranked 22nd versus the running backs. We were ranked top 10. Okay. So, that hurt me a lot. That was my fantasy player for 1 o'clock. Now for 4 o'clock, my fantasy player, this is really going to be interesting, Kenneth Walker.
Good.
Yep. Kenneth Walker playing the 30th ranked rush defense. And he's coming off a 2-touchdown, 43-yard game last week versus Detroit. Start Kenneth Walker at your RB2 or even 1. But Kenneth Walker for me is a fantasy smash for this week. I think he has a magnificent game. I actually forgot who they played. I just know
they play Carolina.
Carolina.
Because I was going to put Miles Sanders in there.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that trade, man. I'm so happy I got
So
him.
I traded this man, Zach Moss, and Antonio Gibson for Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders been crapping the bed, so I want y'all to let me know what you think of that trade right there.
I think for the short term, it benefits you. For the long term, it benefits me because I have Austin Eckler, and until he gets back, I could just put in Zach Moss.
Who's starting.
And that's going to be good.
So it really helps us both.
Exactly.
Because Eckler's probably out for maybe 2 to 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
Because he was possibly going to play this week.
Mm-hmm.
And JT may get back in 2 to 3 weeks. So it's like perfect timing.
So, tell us what you think about that trade.
Zach Moss, Antonio Gibson for Miles Sanders.
Now, my last fantasy player for this week, and it's coming off Sunday Night Football, Davante Adams. Okay? He had 20.4 points last week with 84 receiving yards and a touchdown on the Bills defense. Bills defense much better than the Steelers defense, I'm going to say. Bills secondary is strong. Really strong secondary. But he should be, if not, the only offensive weapon in this matchup. The Steelers' rush defense is awesome. Okay, TJ Watt is a dog. So, they're not going to run the ball. And they don't have Darren Waller anymore. Hunter Renfrow is not that good. Davante Adams is going to be the number one product of offense. And I don't see anyone on the Steelers' defense able to contain him. If the Bills couldn't do it, Steelers definitely are not doing it. I don't care if it's primetime. Davante Adams in primetime is awesome.
You hear that, James? My little brother just traded him in the league. We were very active in this league. Well, no, he just traded for him. He's on his team.
Oh, smart man.
He trades him. He texts me. My team is projected 140. I'm like, okay. All right. So, for my fantasy player, for 1 o'clock, I got my boy Keenan Allen. Huge Keenan Allen fan. All right. He's playing the Vikings. This is a high floor play. I don't think Keenan Allen scores less than 10 points. Okay? Definitely do not think he is scoring less than 10 points. Okay? He leads the team in targets. Once again, this game has a 54.5 total. So you're getting the number one receiving option in a game with 54.5 total. All right? And it's only a 2.5 point spread. So it's supposed to be a close game. Both teams should be throwing the ball. And there's no Eckler.
I was about to say that.
I heard him. I was like, okay, he's about to say there's no Eckler. So, and there's no Eckler. Good stuff. All right? And he's coming off a 31-point game. Vikings defense didn't stop Mike Evans. They didn't stop Devontae Smith. Okay? They did contain A.J. Brown, but they ain't going to be able to stop Keenan Allen. All right? He's going to route those boys up. He moves along from inside at slot to outside at wide out, and he gets in motion, and he is 100% going to be carving that Vikings defense up. All right.
I like that.
Now, on 405. I really don't like doing this, but it's only because the season's early, but I'm tailing my player prop, and I'm going Tony Pollard, okay? I have him in one of my fantasy teams. He's going to be traded after this week, okay?
Really?
Yes, because he's going to go off again. He's scored 19.9 points last week and over 20 the week before, okay? So he's averaging
I'll take him off again.
20 points per game. It's the 14-man league.
Yeah,
I had Jerome Ford in that league, too. That felt good. So, prayers up to Nick Chubb, though.
Yeah, I'll take Pollard over him.
So, I got Tony Pollard scoring on this Arizona defense, as you saw in my player prop. So, that's 6 points right there. Who knows how long the touchdown will be. They're 12.5-point favorites, like I mentioned earlier. So, they are going to be running the ball. They beat the last two teams pretty handily, and he got 20 points. Saquon Barkley got 27.5 against this Arizona team, and Brian Robinson got in the end zone against this Arizona team. I have Tony Pollard as a fantasy play in these 405 games.
Smart man.
All right, 825. This one was a little sketchy. George Pickens a little too boom bust for me. All right. I love him, but he's too boom bust.
You need to let go of George Pickens. He's not that...
Bro, he had... Did you watch Monday Night Football?
I did, but...
He is a dog.
Oh, my God.
Bro, give him a good quarterback, and he is amazing.
Oh, so now you want to admit that Kenny Pickett isn't good. Okay, thank you.
He's good. He's not
12
great.
and 5.
He's average.
12 and 5.
I did say 12-5.
Is Kenny Pickett a 12-5 quarterback? No.
No, he's not. Okay, I had more faith in him. I fell into the preseason champ hype. All right, so they are still going to be over 500. Josh Jacobs. All right, Josh Jacobs is my fantasy play. CMC and Chubb against this Steelers defense carved him up, and Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford, I think, had almost 20 fantasy points, if not more.
I think he had more.
He had more than 20 fantasy points?
I think he had 26 and a half.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. He had over 20 fantasy points, and he played 3 quarters.
That's
Chubb
impressive.
was killing him. CMC took like a over 50-yard touchdown out of the house and had 27.5 fantasy points. I reaped the benefits for that. So I want y'all to reap the benefits for starting Josh Jacobs with confidence. All right? If you don't have confidence, then put him in your flex. But don't put him in your bench. Okay? He needs to be in your lineup. He's playing a weak Steelers team, and he's still getting the production and the targets and the carries out the backfield. He scored 9 points in back-to-back weeks. That's not too bad considering what's available at running back right now. Like I said, we're talking about Jerome Ford. Who is Jerome Ford? But
now, they also signed Kareem Hunt. I think Jerome Ford has a good 2 weeks, but then when Kareem Hunt starts to come into the game.
Yeah, I don't know why Chrissy spent $83 of his.
Yeah,
on him.
our good friend Chrissy, you guys will actually see him next week because he is our next special guest. Yes, I am announcing it here. Christian will be on our episode next week when the Eagles play Washington next week. I get a day off in that aspect. Thank you, Lord. No punishments coming from me. Hopefully Patriots don't choke. But, yeah. Anyways, Christian, you guys will see him. He's a character. You guys will love him, hopefully. He's a very big
only
character.
Washington Commanders fan I know.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of sad. But he spent $83. Keep in mind, the budget limit for EJ's league is 140, right?
Yeah.
140.
He spent $26
for the
the week
whole
before.
season. For the whole season, including the playoffs. There's no add-ons. He spent $83 on one player because he was that desperate for a running back. And then, 24 hours later, they signed Kareem Hunt.
And he spent $26 on Deion Jackson last week.
And then he dropped him.
Is not starting.
And then he dropped him, right?
I offered him Antonio Gibson, bro. And he said, I'm going Deion Jackson.
So,
what did Deion Jackson do? 0.
That's one thing to not do in fantasy football is put $83 on a backup.
He's on our show next week, bro. He's going to be giving advice. Listen to him next week, please.
Not
he
on
might tell you what not to do.
Don't listen to him on fantasy, but everything else is fine. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.